Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with SwiftCover.com. For car insurance, don't wait in line, go online. Get a life. Get Swift Covered.
Absolute Radio.
Welcome to the Frank Skinner... I've already gone, that's the terrible opening. Frank Skinner, I don't know what they're called, the podcast of my show on Absolute Radio. Don't yet. I haven't introduced you, Gareth. That was Gareth in as an opening.
Hello.
And Emily's here as well.
Hello.
And we did the show together. And what was on this week? Adrian Chiles.
He was great. I loved him.
Yes. Did you like him?
Yeah, that was really good.
Okay, well, I'll send him this tape so he knows that. And we had a phone-in about restaurants.
Yes, people texted about restaurants.
Yeah, they texted. And
we talked about the South Bank.
Yes, and the biopic of this programme, which is being made as we speak, with Michael Sheen playing all three parts.
Well, Noel Fielding is he's trying out for my part. And Lucy Pinder is trying out for Emily.
The glamour model.
Yeah. And I think we decided the Elephant Man would be playing me. So it's going to take some getting. We'll have to get a deal with Michael Jackson. I think he's got the scaffolding if he hasn't got the meat. Let's listen to the podcast.
Absolute.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, and I'm with my associates, Emily and Gareth. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And we're in central London, so anything could happen because we've been told that... I thought that we just spoke to the newsman, Adrian, and he said, we said there's going to be 10,000 protesters, isn't there? And he said, up to 10,000.
Yeah.
As if there's a limit on it.
No more.
Sorry, no more. We're full, like getting into a lift. So that's worth knowing. And it's the England game today, but that's later on, so that'll be all right. That's at 5:15 if you're hoping to watch that. And they've been in the news for all sorts of reasons this week, the England team.
Yeah, some weird things.
Yeah, John Terry's mom.
Yeah. That was a really strange story, wasn't it?
In case you don't know this, I think we have to throw allegedly in here somewhere. The Sun haven't done that on the cover, where they said John Terry's mom nicked pedigree chum, unquote. But
such good. I'm just so glad she did something that rhymed.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody should do that. I think people should try and do things that have got a pun involved if they want to get in the papers. But yeah, apparently and allegedly, and who knows, John Terry's mum and her mate Sue went shoplifting. That's what the story is.
They went on a spree. Yeah. It's always a spree, isn't it, in the tabloids?
Should we go on a spree?
Yeah.
Do you fancy a spree today? Yeah, a spree would be good.
It's a bit difficult, the double shoplifter one, because often they say this thing like, I'm under a lot of stress, just like, the Winona Ryder type of thing. Yeah. But if there's two of you...
If you do it, then you're a gang, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. You're Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, exactly. And they stole some dog food. Though, as Emily pointed out, it couldn't have been pedigree chum because it's from Marks and Spencer's and they only have their own brand, which I never knew.
Well, exactly. But they also stole flip-flops and clingy leggings, apparently.
Clingy leggings. Not Klingon leggings. Speaking of which, actually, Klingon... There's also another England football. Did you see that Peter Crouch said that he got his robotic dance from C-3PO?
Oh, wow. Right.
From studying, not from C-3PO in some sort of lesson.
That's quite bizarre, isn't it? So they were like, so tell us, Peter, what was the inspiration for the legendary robot dance? A robot. Who would have thought it?
I met... you think I'm going to say Peter Crouch, but I met C-3PO.
Oh, really?
The man who plays him at a
party
once.
That's a good name drop.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what his real name is, but he wasn't in the suit or anything.
Anthony something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Anthony something. And somebody said to me, that's C-3PO, and I said he doesn't look tall enough, and he took exception to it.
Or golden enough.
Yeah. Yeah, but I suppose he looks taller because he hangs around with R2-D2.
Oh, they fell out, though. They have a feud, which I love.
What, the actors or the robots?
The actors.
Kenny Baker is in the
that's right,
dustbin.
Yeah. They had a massive fallout. They don't speak anymore.
Oh, no, that's terrible news.
Oh, no, does that mean there's not going to be any more Star Wars films? What a terrible...
I think they could probably replace with that. It's Peter Crouch they could use, for example. No, I think it's... I'll tell you, this is a weird thing. I was walking along the South Bank, which is, for all... I know we have listeners that aren't in London, and I apologise. I hate it when people on the radio talk as if everyone knows London. London, anyway, is a large conurbation in the southeast of England.
And there's a river, isn't there?
Yeah,
as well?
and on the south bank
and
of
the
that
it's
river.
got two banks, the river.
Yes, and I was walking along the south bank where they have lots of these like human statues and stuff like that. You know, those people that paint themselves gold. When I walk in the morning, they're often spraying themselves and sit around talking. Yeah, it's quite a little community there. There's a lizard on a bicycle.
Does it ruin the magic?
One. No, I'm happy with it. It's like being allowed into their private world. Anyway, I walked past in the morning. There was a golden wizard on a plinth who's got, like, telescopic arms. I'm not sure about him. I don't know who he's supposed to be. He moves. And he does that thing where they have like, those bird whistlers in your mouth going...
Okay.
Like, that makes you better. And then on the other side was a bloke dressed as Darth Vader. And as I walked past, the bloke dressed as Darth Vader was saying, yeah, people think it's easy, but it's not. And I thought, no, is he talking about standing there dressed as Darth Vader, which obviously is easy, or is it Darth Vader sort of in a very wistful moment talking about being evil?
Do you think that he really wants his son to follow in his footsteps as a street performer? Who's like, join me? No, never! I'll never join you!
Absolute.
So I was on the South Bank and I passed Darth Vader. And then I saw, honestly, one of the tallest blokes I've ever seen. I mean, it really, like, exceptionally Guinness Book of Records tall. And
Freakishly tall. No,
well,
that's not a nice word.
No, but that's the debate, you see. Me and we spoke about Peter Crouch earlier. Me and David Baddiel had this long debate about at what height does tall stop being good and start being bad? Because if you say, tall, dark and handsome and all that, you know, you think, oh, you're a tall guy. But then when you see someone who's a bit too tall, they start to move into the area that could be termed ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit freak show.
And this bloke, and he looked like a perfectly healthy bloke. He had a girlfriend with him who was less tall, obviously. That would have been terrified.
Scuttling around his heels.
Well, she was quite tall, but not compared to him. She could have easily caught an earring on his belt buckle. But he had quite a small head, right? And I noticed this because Peter Crouch, I think, has got quite a small head as well. Now,
did he have a small head, or was it just because it was very far away?
Well, no, that's what I wondered, you see, because I passed quite close to him, and I thought, no, you have got a small head. But, of course, people I pass close to normally, their head is quite close to mine, but his was a distant object. So, unless I'd asked him to kneel, which I imagine he gets quite a lot, I'd never have known.
What are we talking, 6, 7?
Oh, it's hard to say, really. I mean, we were near the wheel, the Millennium Wheel, as I like to call it, and he was taller than that. He was easily. He was tapping on the pods and frightening people. By the way, we were talking last week about our podcasts, which our podcasts are available on iTunes, and last week we were celebrating the fact we were number 61 in the charts. Just above French-made TV. Or was it just below French-made TV?
I think it was just below, but that's okay.
Yeah. But no, can you believe it? We've gone up to number 6.
I was really excited by that.
This is a course of... don't tell me like you already knew. This is what they do on the radio. They tell each other things they already know, and they pretend they've just found out. It's like when I said hello to you this morning, like I hadn't seen you until you suddenly turned up at the studio. Don't break... People, let them dream.
Okay, fair enough.
Yes, number 6! Brilliant!
Well
In your face, everyone else!
In your face? Is that a child's saying?
A child's saying?
Well, you know, youth.
I'm a bit more yes, in your face. That's what you say to someone if you have an asbo. In an arrogant way, if you want to.
Because a guy the other night, I did him a favour, and he said to me, thanks for doing me a solid.
What's that?
Yeah, I was at the laboratory at the time, having my colon tested.
Oh, God.
Speaking of which, we went for when we started this show. This is the kind of life we lead. We went to a kind of posh restaurant to. So actually, Gareth, you weren't on board at the point, so you didn't come.
No, I was probably in McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. We phoned you, I think. But me and Emily went to a posh restaurant, and I tell you what, the first thing that worried me is that I just asked Emily to do this music show with me. And we got into the restaurant, and the first thing she said to the waitress was, "Excuse me, can you turn the music down?" Which I would
can't
never
abide music.
It's I don't like the music, but I felt it was a little loud. Would you never say that to someone?
I mean, I think I'm a fairly good complainer in restaurants, but I could never say the music is too loud.
You don't have a strong enough sense of entitlement. I think that's the problem. I
well,
think
no,
that's reasonable.
you've got that. I know. But I used to be incredibly intimidated. In the first posh restaurant I ever remember going in, there was an American waiter who was quite camp, and I said to him, I'll have the chicken a la grecque, please. I said, but instead of the dauphinoise potatoes, which I didn't know what they were, I said, could I have French fries with that? And I said French fries rather than chips to sound more sophisticated. So I said, I'll have the chicken a la grecque and the French fries, and he said, right, would you like that on a plate or in a basket? It's just, God, I shriveled into a terrible crouton like
I told you.
Yeah, but you're good in restaurants. I was in a restaurant only the other day with Emily, and she said, I'll have the rocket and parmesan, please, and no onions.
Yeah, but I have a fear of onions.
Why bring up onions in that conversation?
Because I've had so many slip-ups with chives before.
Oh, we all have to. By the way, Adrian Chiles is our guest on the show tonight. There's a link and a half. What do you mean you've had slip-ups with chives?
I can't really... I hate onions and chives. It will ruin my whole meal if I have to eat them or if they're anywhere near the food.
But do you say it about every meal?
Yes, I do. If I go to France, I go sans oignon. It's what I say all the time, the first thing when I walk into a restaurant.
A cappuccino, sans oignon. The trouble is with sans oignon, actually, it actually starts to hurt my mouth after a bit. There's too much.
I want no onions and I want to eat in absolute silence. Turn the music off. Shut those people up. I don't want those people talking while I'm eating my no onions.
Can you believe I'm single? It's extraordinary, isn't it?
Incredible.
You know, I think the didgeridoo began because of someone saying sans oignon. Can I have sans oignon? It was French travellers over there. Although, to be fair to you, I was in a sushi place with my girlfriend, and she said, I'll have the carrot juice. And they brought it over, and she said to me, there's orange juice in this. And I said, oh, don't be ridiculous. And she said, no, there's orange juice. And we called the waitress over, and she said, I think there's orange juice in this. And the waitress said, yes, we put orange juice because people don't like too much carrot juice. Yes, that was the explanation. So she was right, my girlfriend. She's always right, of course.
Absolute.
So we were talking about restaurants, is what we were talking about. I'm quite... You know, people do these phone... We've been sitting around, me, Gareth and Emily. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio, in case you've tuned in and think there's something wrong with the sound. And we were talking about... We want people to, to phone and text in and stuff. So we're talking about things that they could phone in and text about. Because I hate it when people just say text and what your favourite colour is. That doesn't seem much point, that, to me. But we got to the point, I wrote this down as a note, and I don't know when we got there, and it said, what's the most evil man you've ever buried in a field? Which would be one of the great radio phone-ins of all time. I'd have thought late night sort of talk radio, you'd get quite a lot of responses to that.
So if you've got any grave diggers listening, please phone in with the most evil man you've ever buried.
But if you don't, people will know, then we'll be frightened.
Yeah.
If you've had any restaurant funny things, I'm always interested to hear that, obviously. You can phone us at Absolute Radio on 033 01 23 12 15. I can't say any of these twice because we're the home of no repeat guarantee, so you'll have to just bear with me. You can text us on 8 12 15, or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website, which is absoluteradio.co.uk/Frank Skinner.
So Jim has already said, I'm with Emily, I hate onions too, and will inspect every meal in case a rogue onion has crept in. Keep up the good work, Jim. So that's a possible man for you, Emily.
I like the sound of Jim.
Well, snogging would be good, because, onions is always a bit of a no-go.
I could never date a man who ate onions.
Really? Yeah. That's extreme. When you advertise in the personal column, I'm assuming you do, where most people put no smoker, do you put sans oignon?
I just put S-O.
By the way, can I apologise? The show began so smoothly. It's the best start we've had by a mile. And then, just as I brought the last record on, Gareth went, "Mama!" just as it was coming in. Yeah, I mean, I presume you were going to say something else, but it was slightly... people think I've got a small lamb in here that I'm squeezing while the music is on. Right, now where's he gone? What was you going to say? Can you remember?
I was going to say that my mum in restaurants is a nightmare because she always, has terrible buyer's remorse. She always goes, I could have made it better than this. I could have done... The first time we ever went out for a meal with my wife, Laura, we went to an Italian restaurant and my mum had spaghetti carbonara and she said, mine's better than this. My spaghetti carbonara is better than this. And after we'd eaten, we went home and straight away she went and made her own spaghetti carbonara. Say, look, taste this, this is better than that. Look, isn't it?
Just to prove. I had a bit of an incident in a restaurant on Mother's Day, which was last week, it was with the waitress, because I was with my mum and my sister and my brother-in-law and my niece. And when I got there, they'd all been...
Well, that's the dramatic person A of this anecdote sorted
I've
out.
got to give you the cast list.
No, I can see them sitting there.
It's relevant.
Okay.
Because as I arrived, my mum and my sister had champagne. And I said, I'd like one of those, to the waitress when she came over and asked for my drink. And she said, the champagne is complimentary for mums. Are you a mother? And I felt so angry at the thought of having to spend £7.50 because I forgot to have children in the 90s, basically. So I said, yes, I am a mum.
Oh, you never did.
I did. Really defiantly, in the way that you would never say if you actually were a mum.
Yeah.
And my niece, who's 8, looked at me with such horror and kind of pity that I'd lied to get the free champagne.
She'll probably look back as that as the end of her childhood.
Yeah, exactly.
When I
so did you get the champagne?
Well, no, then she continued to cross-examine me and she went, are you sure you're a mum? In this kind of jokey way. It was horrendous.
She didn't ask for a urine sample.
No. What was the inspection?
I couldn't change my story by then. So
you stuck with it and got the free champagne.
I got the free champagne. And my mother made some excuse and said her daughter's not with us, which sounded like I'd left my child home alone on Mother's Day, which is even worse.
That's as bad as when I lied at a dolphinarium. Which I think I might call the third volume of my autobiography. I Lied at a Dolphinarium by Frexian. Now, I was... They said, is it anyone's birthday? And the dolphins will sing you happy birthday. And I thought, well, look, I don't want to miss out on this. The truth is, of course, they were going to sing happy birthday anyway, I imagine.
Yeah, and they probably haven't got a huge repertoire, have they?
No, and then this child put his hand up. I presumed he was telling the truth. So we shared the happy birthday. I think that I like the way I slightly diminished him being centre of attraction by lying. But and then the dolphins went, and it was very. I thought it was quite emotional.
Do you know that dolphins are the only sea creature that's saddened by lying?
Is that right?
So they will have known.
They looks like I didn't do it on porpoise.
Absolute.
Have you moved house yet, Gareth?
No, we're just about to move. Oh, moving is so stressful. I've been putting it off, and I don't want to talk about it. And the other night, my wife cornered me in the bath.
Right.
So she
Do you have
suggested
corners in your bath?
Well,
sounds very uncomfortable. Is it some sort of crate?
More of an end, but she suggested we have a bath, and I thought, that would be a nice, relaxing thing to do together. Then she started questioning me about the move, and it turned into the bath of inquisition.
Oh, it's like that one in The Reader with Kate Winslet.
Yeah, and you just feel you feel naked, and you are naked.
You are naked. I hope so.
No,
Unless you're like those nuns that wear a swimming costume in the bath.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to discover you are. Well, I don't know about you. I've always found that's one of the most disappointing things that should be exciting but aren't. Is bathing with a member of the opposite sex, or with your own sex if you like.
Yeah,
that.
I don't.
With a partner.
I don't like. I just think, no offence, guys, but men are quite. I don't
Be
know.
careful where you're going with this. This is morning radio.
No, but there's just too many big hairy limbs. It's like sort of a Shire horse in the bath or something. It just feels really uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hate bathing with a Shire horse.
Yeah.
I find, oh man, you can't get. You don't bathe with them. You bathe amongst them. That's the bottom line. No, I don't.
And
no,
I
get hot. I get really sweaty. I want to
nice.
get in the bath. I want to clean everything meticulously and then get out. I don't want. I'm not one of those people who soak or wallow.
No.
I don't like that at all.
And there's not really space for enough movement or anything. And Laura's quite scared of drowning, so we don't.
She's
It's
not
just
scared
a
of
bath.
drowning.
It's just like sitting there. And the thing was, I was getting more and more stressed because I felt like, well, this isn't going to work. And then when we checked my diary, I couldn't do any of the dates she said. But the thing about having that sort of
Did you
conversation...
check it while you were still in
No,
the bath?
well, obviously I had to get out. But the problem with a bath inquisition of that sort is that, you haven't got your diary with you.
No.
You can't take that.
Well, exactly. So you're not able to commit.
No, it's not a good place to do admin.
I like that the bath inquisition has become a common practice now.
Yeah. If only the Spanish Inquisition, if it had happened in Bath, in the West Country, we would have all known that phrase.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't. I'll tell you something else as well, and this is, I think I might be betraying a confidence here, but my girlfriend, it's all right, she's in Romania this weekend,
Yes.
so I can say, we also shower differently. We never shower together. And I notice when I shower, I don't know if this is just me or men or it's just my girlfriend who's different, but when I get in the shower, I clean every part very thoroughly. I start at the top and work my way down, end on the feet, right?
Right.
And then I rinse and get out. That's what I do. Whereas my girlfriend just seems to stand in there. She's like somebody waiting for a bus where there happens to be hot water running down. I don't see her actually cleaning
No, that's a
anything.
girl thing. I totally do that as well.
You just stand in the
Yes.
shower.
Well,
Is
what
that
else
why you
do I
have
do?
to
I
wear
don't attack
perfume, you
myself like
women?
with a scouring brush or something.
You let the-
I've seen men do that. They sort of clean underneath their feet and stuff.
Yes, we clean underneath our feet. What's the bottom of your feet like then? Terrible, callous. I don't even want to think about it.
Absolute.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily and Gareth. And we're asking people about things that have happened to them in restaurants. Oh, now I really sound like a DJ saying that.
Hey, Bob.
And you can phone us on 03301231215 or text us on 81215 or you can email us through the Absolute Radio website.
Cool. And Katie G says it was a mate's birthday and we went out to a restaurant. It was the one where they have speakers in the toilets and they play those learn a language tapes. And my friends didn't know this. She went in, heard the tape, screamed and set the fire alarms off. The whole place was evacuated.
Hold on just a minute. I think this needs pulling apart. For a start off, I've never been in a restaurant toilet where they play learn language tape.
No.
Yeah, no, that's
You
the same.
sure it just wasn't Emily in one of the cubicles going songs on your over and over?
I will not have music. Have you got anything else? Maybe I'm learning Spanish.
You're making me sound
Hold on.
horrible.
So she screamed and the fire alarms went off. Is she a dragon? How does screaming make the fire alarms go off?
Karen from Windsor says...
Hold on, that wasn't a rhetorical question. How did she do that? What's she
what?
called the lady? Katie G or something?
Katie G.
Yeah, fancy me remembering that. That's brilliant.
well
Impressive.
done.
Well, Katie, if you can give us any more details, get your friend to phone up and we'll see if we can set the fire alarms off at Absolute Radio. What's the next one?
Sorry, Karen from Windsor. She says, after Genius last night... You were on Genius last night, Frank, weren't you?
I was on
We should
Genius
tell
last
people
night.
that. Talking about
It's
telly.
no good telling them now. They can watch it on the iPlayer.
My daughter and her friend are planning to get their maths teachers to do the dance thing for sponsorship. This could be a new trend. Great show, by the way. Best reason for waking up earlier on a Saturday.
Now that could be a slogan.
I like
Yeah.
it.
The
That's
best
good.
reason for waking up earlier on a Saturday. What's she called?
Karen from Windsor.
And I think every time we say it, we have to credit Karen from Windsor on it. What is it? The best reason for waking up earlier?
Yeah, earlier.
Oh, it's earlier. Would it be early? Would that be better?
Karen, if you
Quite
could...
cumbersome,
If you could
isn't it?
text in early on a Saturday, that would sound just more
But
elegant.
this is nice because Karen's made a suggestion and we've workshopped it.
Yeah, no, that's very good. And Emily's downstairs neighbour
Oh, he's lovely,
texted
my
in.
neighbour, Rowley.
says we're doing a good job. And she also says that
Does she
Emily...
mean doing a good job on the radio or as a neighbour?
Excellent work. From what I've heard, you're being an she says that you've been invited to take part in a 10k run on the 25th of May, Emily.
Oh,
Emily's going to take part in a 10k. That I have to see. In
I'm not
heels.
doing that. I've got glittery bronze shoes on. Can you
You're
imagine
allowed
me
to
doing a
change.
10k run?
Have
No.
you ever run, ever?
No, hell no.
You ran. I held the door open to you on the way in today, and because you were you did run.
Did you hear me
You did a
clip-clopping
little
down
run,
the
yeah.
street?
But you see,
did a
that's
little
what
canter.
I find you get to a certain age where people holding the door open for you isn't a favour anymore because you have to, I find I have to scurry towards it, and I think, why don't you just let me take my own time? I can open a door, don't patronise me.
Absolute.
Guess what? Adrian Chiles has arrived. See, I know the music. Yes, okay. That's enough of that, isn't it?
It's Romeo and Juliet, isn't it?
Is it Romeo and
Yeah,
Juliet?
that's what
No,
we
it's
discovered.
definitely Adrian Chiles. I know him anyway.
That's Sir Alan Sugar's music. If he's listening, he won't be happy you've used that to introduce me.
Has he
Well,
trademarked
it is
it?
Prokofiev, though. I don't think he can claim it.
I think he's
can
bought the rights up to it.
Does
Did
he?
you see the thing that Barbara Windsor in the paper said she'd run away from Alan Sugar because he looked too much like Sid James? Did you read that? She said she went to dinner and she looked at him and she couldn't. It reminded her too much of Sid. She couldn't stand
It
it.
was like Banquo's ghost.
Exactly, yeah. Except Banquo's ghost didn't go.
Alan Sugar doesn't do that either, by the way.
No, he's quite scary, isn't he?
I
Alan
quite
Sugar?
fancy Alan Sugar.
Do-
I
yeah,
said too
God.
much, haven't I? That's really weird.
That's two blokes you've claimed that you fancy: Alan Sugar and Henry VIII.
It's funny you should say that because, you know, there's a footballer called Bob Taylor who scored a lot of goals for West Brom in his career, and his girlfriend is absolutely obsessed with Sir Alan Sugar, has erotic dreams about him. and
Really?
everything. Yeah, and she came to the final show last year and told him all about it. It's the only time I've seen him just stuck for words. He plain didn't know what to say. Lady Sugar looked on bewildered. But yes, Bob Taylor's girlfriend is obsessed with Sir Alan Sugar.
Lady Sugar sounds like somebody who should do dance tracks, doesn't it? Should be a DJ. So I got a confession to make.
Yeah.
I've never seen The Apprentice.
You can rectify that at any time. The DVD's available now.
Right. Well, I nearly saw some the other night. It started, but then something happened in my household.
okay.
But I saw it. Kind of worried me. I'll tell you what puts me off it. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's a major hit, so we're not bringing you on to slag
My
it off.
favourite show ever.
Exactly.
let's say.
So I nothing I say can kind of. I'm chipping away at a mighty edifice. I think you'd agree. But it seemed to be a lot of business people.
Yeah.
Now, I've spent most of my life avoiding business people. If I stay in hotels on tour and have breakfast, there's always someone on the next table saying, yeah, I was talking to Dave Green in sales, and he says the Melco deal's going to be 10k.
Yeah.
And I always think, I'm so glad my life isn't about that. But they're all like that on there, aren't they?
Well, they sort of are, but I think the beauty of it is that you see these kind of people, if you like, and I'm certainly sort of less disparaging about that kind of people than you are, but I think you'd see those kind of people taken out of their comfort zones.
Yeah.
And the results are quite spectacular. Also, you get people who plainly, I think, are competent in their day-to-day lives, and you just see them completely losing the plot and just making stupid decisions. I think it's a bit like when us two watch the football and we look at some player and say, "Oh, why has he done that? Why has he done that?" You know, well, it's easy from where we sit. Do you know what I mean? I just think
No, it is.
Yeah.
It's horrible from where we sit. In case you don't know, me and Adrian both support a team called West Bromwich Albion, who are bottom. Not only are they bottom of the Premiership, but they've been bottom
it's November.
so long they've got ivy growing up them. Yeah, so
true.
it's I don't want to say we're doomed on air, but it's looking bleak at the
It
moment.
is, yes. You don't care, do you, Emily?
What about West
West Brom,
Bromwich?
no.
I care more about The Apprentice.
Right.
Yeah. I want to ask you something.
Go on,
on,
ask something.
Well, I just want to know, do you... Because I don't think Alan Sugar's always right. I think his choices are a bit rubbish sometimes. Like the Badger, who was a couple of seasons ago now, don't you think she should have won rather than the woman with no eyebrows?
Do they have code names? Is it like CB Radio?
It is.
That sounds like a Bond film, doesn't it?
is, yeah.
A woman with no eyebrows.
Lost,
Does she work in the furnace industry?
But Adrian knows what I mean.
Yes. Well, so with the benefit of hindsight, maybe, but it's just, I think they were both confident. I don't think he's got any regrets about that. But he's based, he goes on, what he's been told has happened that day and what Nick and Margaret have told him. And
who do you think this year? Who have you got? Who's your money on?
Well, I think one of the. I've got an idea. I don't know any more than you, actually. I know.
Okay.
I know. I've seen 2 shows. I've seen next week's already, And I've been wrong every year so far. There's one bloke, I won't even say who it is actually, but there's one bloke I've got my eye on. No, it's not Phil.
There's a man who looks like John Terry, and there's also...
Oh, no, I feel so alienated. Can I just play something that makes me feel all at home and familiar?
Oh, no, it's not the Fall.
Oh, don't say that. It is the Fall.
Absolute.
That was the Fall with Spoilt Victorian Child. Did you enjoy that, Adrian?
I automatically felt of being on the M40 going to West Brom, or even worse, going on the way back. The last thing you really need to hear in those circumstances is the Fall. Although there's somebody worse he's put on than that. When we lost at a dismal game at Birmingham City a couple of years ago, and he put something on called Bright Back Morning Light, which truly is suicide music. I mean, I liked it, don't get me wrong, but at that moment, as we drove through East Birmingham trying to get back on the motorway,
well, my car, my music. Yeah. That's what I said.
If you want to calm yourself down a bit, you're feeling a bit too happy for your own good, stick Bright Back Morning Light on. Dear God.
If only we'd got them here now. So that was the first Fall track I ever heard. That's what started my obsession.
I quite like that song, though.
You see, they're growing on you, aren't they?
I know. No, but I like Sport Victorian Child, because I think that's what I was in a past life.
Yeah, I'm almost certain of that. I should say that Emily's very lovely. She's coming over as a bit of a sort of wag on this show. But I don't know if you can see her on the webcam anyway. Are you on the webcam? We've never worked
Well,
that
I've put enough makeup on that I really hope I am.
Okay.
I think she's on webcam 3. There's different webcams.
Oh, is there?
Okay.
Oh, it's like player
angles.
cam on Sky.
Yeah.
So
Hello,
I was watching you last night, Adrian, and on the One Show, and now I'm very paranoid about salt.
Yeah.
It was... You must, if you do the One Show, you must learn loads and loads of stuff. Every time I watch it, I'm really educated.
Well, I think you're a bit like a GP compared to a consultant. A consultant knows, a lot about a little. GPs know a little about a lot. I know almost nothing about everything now. You just pick up 101 thing about salt, which is a truly extraordinary fact that one bowl of cornflakes with milk contains more salt than a bag of ready salted crisps. I think that is truly incredible. I was worried about the sugar in kids cereal. I don't know how they're allowed to sell that. How are they allowed to sell cereal with so full of sugar? But in fact, the salt's even worse. Just give up the salt, everybody.
Well, you're making a good living out of a cereal that's so full of sugar. Now, the salt thing really shocked me, because it's bad for you, isn't it, salt?
It's extremely bad.
And it showed you things that you'd never think had salt in, and they're packed with it. And now there's nowhere to go. Like you said, you couldn't really even avoid salt, because it's in stuff. It's probably in onions.
Onions got that feeling about them. 6 grams is what we should be having, and we're having 9 grams at the moment, so we need to reduce it by 50%.
But you see, you learn all sorts of stuff.
One pork pie with Branston pickle is nearly your entire daily salt intake.
Really?
Wow. And I've had 4 or 5 of them at one sitting in the past. With
This morning already you've had that.
With pork scratchings. I get through 2 or 3 of those at one sitting. I daren't ask.
Oh, you are Lot's wife.
Yeah.
You basically are salt.
Yeah. Not this weekend, though. No salt for me.
I always feel there aren't enough Old Testament references on Absolute Radio. Lot's wife, ladies and gentlemen. The pillar of salt.
Absolute.
Oh man, I'm hitting all the right buttons today. That was Lily Allen. I feel like Rick Wakeman doing one of his ice spectaculars.
The single most astonishing thing I'll see this weekend is you driving your own desk in a radio studio. This man can't operate his own sat-nav.
No, that is true.
And this is going to fall off air, surely.
Fall off air? Yeah. Is that a technical term?
I believe it is.
I think the Fall should stay off air.
Yeah. You are fired. You're fired. Oh man, the Fall, by the way. Thanks for reminding me. Are playing in Cambridge on Tuesday night,
and
they're playing. Yes, I'm warning you. And they're playing in Camden in North London on Wednesday night at Coco. I've got a terrible dilemma because the Fall are at Coco in Camden and England are playing in a World Cup qualifier. So what I'm going to do, I'm splitting the difference. I'm going to watch the first half of the England game, go and watch the Fall, and then come back and watch it on tape.
Frank, you've got enough money to start your own radio station. Just start Fall FM. Just start it.
Oh, what a dream that would
be. You're going to bring Absolute to its knees. But you're not playing the Fall, you're talking about them.
Okay.
It's niche appeal.
Well, and people will only listen in the autumn as well.
Yeah. American people. So I'm trying to remember how we met, Adrian. I can't.
I believe that we went to see a Villa West Brom game for Match of the Day too, and I came round your place and picked you up, and we drove up there together. I was very much in awe of Frank, having admired his work for a.
That's gone.
It sounds like a really sweet date that you came round to his place and picked him up.
I couldn't believe he actually knew who I was. That was. Oh no, it wasn't. It was at the Albion when you'd done an interview for that programme I did about Ron Atkinson.
Oh, okay.
After the Desai business, and you'd done an interview for us, then I met you in the press room at the Albion. It was a very beautiful moment.
But you'd been on Business Lunch for years, which I'd never seen.
Working lunch.
Oh, yes. Oh, God, see already a terrible faux pas. That proves I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Do you have fans say, "Oh, why aren't you doing that anymore?"
Yeah, that's
you've sold out. You used to be about the business.
No, it had a very small but very loyal viewership. You know, I did that for 13 years. It was incredible the amount of people who did watch it at some stage or other. But even devoted fans, people who taped every show, who could quote things that happened 11 years ago, called it business lunch. Just working lunch never stopped. Everyone called it business lunch.
Well, I'm sure it's no coincidence that the very moment you stopped doing it, the country fell into a terrible recession. So without your advice on a regular basis, it's been a complete nightmare. Are there any celebrities who... Because I don't have many celebrity friends. There's basically... I think it's you and David Baddiel just about. I can't think of any others off the top of my head who were close. Is there any celebrities who, like Michael Caine he saw this coffee advert and he thought, I really fancy that woman. And the story was he was in a pub and he said, I love that woman on that coffee advert, but I'm not going all the way to Brazil. And the bloke said she lives in Croydon or something like that. And he got in touch. And I think Sylvester Stallone did it. He got someone to get in touch. But that's usually like for courtship. But I wonder if celebrities get in touch, like, to be friends. If you could, is there anyone who you quite fancy as a celebrity friend you've never met? I'm
trying to think. Parky, I think. I need him more as a kind of a father figure, I think. And I've met him a couple of times. So, but I didn't. I get to meet them all because they all come through the one show doors.
You get to cruise on the show.
Now Parky's advertising death on daytime television. That's put me off. You know those adverts when you get a free pen? It's like old people adverts. And I don't know quite what it is.
Actually, you
but
can get, it's life assurance.
It pays your funeral bills. And
there's
all
one
that.
with June Whitfield in a cinema as well, which is really depressing.
Yeah, but you always get a free pen. That lures the pensioners. Oh, free pen. That'll be good at the bingo.
You don't have to sign. It's a good deal, actually, Frank. You don't have to. You get the free pen just for inquiring. You don't actually have to sign up to it.
You should so be doing business lunch. So you've spotted a good deal. Right off.
And you'll get this pen that will last longer than you. Lifetime guarantee.
That's cruel. But I liked it. It is. Yeah. Did you see the old woman who drove around Brands Hatch this week? It was 107, and she drove around, and the driver took her around. They put a full face crash helmet on her, and as Gareth was saying before,
they're terrible because those helmets are really like tight over your ears. You know, and you think with an old person, you're scared a head will come off.
Yeah, 107. It looked like E.T. But the bloke drove around at 108 miles an hour, which really spoilt the whole thing. So anyway, my one...
The heads, I don't think old people's heads do come off like that. I think you're worrying unnecessarily there. Go on.
It's 107 miles an hour.
You should do this on the One Show, do a feature. Old ladies' heads, when will they come off?
Yep. Do old people have to be careful not having specially tight helmets? It's something to worry about.
Isn't it like the top coming off their free pen? In so many ways.
Absolute.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with my usual gang, Emily and Gareth, but also Adrian Chiles. Or Adrian Chives, as we've now discussed.
There was a reference book, and I was referred to as Adrian Chives in it once, and that's kind of stuck with me for a while, and I just shed it, and now it turns around, you've got to think about chives, haven't you, Emily?
Oh, chives? I can't bear them.
Really?
Absolutely. Don't even mention them, Adrian. Chives and onions.
I believe the phrase is sans oignon.
But leeks, then. Leeks, presumably, been the same.
They're okay, but it's still the same family.
You're going to keep going with these slightly sharp vegetables.
What else is there in the onion bulb family?
Shallot.
Well, there's our phone in. Yeah. That's shallot. Exactly.
Oh, no.
We had a text from someone that said, last night I thought I heard an onion singing Bee Gees songs in my fridge, but when I opened the door it was just a chive talking.
Oh, now you've dragged this. Did you have to read that fella. That'll be in your act.
It fits so thematically, I couldn't resist.
No, well done. I like it. Do you think people can tell me and you apart on the radio, Adrian? Or is it just sort of somebody going, oh, yeah?
I think anybody from the West Midlands would tell us apart. Elsewhere, they'd probably struggle. But you've got proper working class roots. I've got impeccable middle class credentials on the quiet. So
yeah, but to an outsider, I should say, someone is probably thinking, I bet a guest hasn't turned up, and Frank's doing both parts in this interview. Because we've got sound-alikes on the show. We've got people phoned in, didn't they, to say that Gareth. Who do you sound like?
Yeah,
Gareth?
well, someone, Sean, working in Dockland, said, "Is that him from Mighty Boosh?"
Right.
So
they must mean Noel.
That Noel Fielding, yeah.
Because the other one is from
He's the one who looks like Elvira.
From
yeah, that's a cool person to sound like. He's much loved by the girls. Yeah. And the one that you sound like, apparently, is much loved by the men.
Yeah. Richard in Taunton is Emily, the twin sister of Lucy Pinder.
Well,
but does he mean your voice, or does he mean your
I don't know. I was
appearance?
going to say, if you were going to say you had something in common with a glamour model, I don't think voice would be in my top 3 list of shared attributes.
It's a very different webcam, isn't it, that would be...
Well, it must be terribly distorted in some way. I think you just like... I mean, no disrespect to Lucy Pinder. I'm a great lover of all things Pindarial.
Yeah.
But you just seem... I don't imagine she's got your sophisticated outlook
Very kind
on
of
life.
you.
But I could be wrong.
After I was told that this week, the producer did flag that up, and I went home and I typed in Lucy plus Pinder plus voice, and I swear on my life, the first thing that came up on the search result was Lucy Pinder the most irritating voice in Britain.
Well, you must be right up there. So, it's you were just saying, Adrian, it's nice not to have a West Brom game, isn't it, on a weekend?
Beautiful.
You can really relax.
Now, if a club goes bankrupt and so, there's loads of people sort of crying and everything, and it's what a terrible... I mean, I'd be there and I'd front the campaign and probably end up trying to buy the club to save it. But a bit of me would actually be quite glad when I just wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. Do you mind if the Albion didn't exist?
It would be... Would a get-out clause. I'd never take on another club either. No. I'd be one of those blokes who's your wife died and then you just live a mournful bachelor. I'd be like the Queen Victoria of football.
Right, there probably is no Albion. You might as well enjoy life.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to make it too in.
The Albion, the fall.
Will you be switching your lights off at 8:30 tonight? Because I should point out that it's an important night in that it's Earth Hour. Yeah. Just to celebrate saving energy and all that. At 8:30 tonight, you're supposed to switch your lights off for an hour.
Right.
I'll be driving at the time, but so what? I've got that'll be my excuse in court. Adrian, it's been great seeing you as always, and I'm going to start watching The Apprentice as from this week.
Right.
Good day to you.
Thank you.
Absolute.
Kings of Leon, or perhaps Emily, you'd say Lyon, and Sex on Fire. We're trying to work out what that song's actually about.
I think it sounds rather unpleasant, personally.
Yeah, it sounds like you should get some cream for that, shouldn't you? If your sex is
God,
on fire.
that's sexist. It's really flaming up. So we were talking about... I'm going to see the Damn United this weekend, which is Michael Sheen's latest acting. Well, actually, he's sort of the new Mike Yarwood, isn't he? He doesn't do real acting. He does impressions.
Impressions for grown-ups.
I think every film should start with him with his back to camera, like messing his hair up, and then he turns around and goes straight into the character. At this rate, John Coleshaw could be winning an Oscar next year. So if you were in a biopic, who would you want to play? Is there anyone who you think you could... Oh, is there a Lucy Pinder biopic? There should be.
Well, I think... Who would I play?
Who could you possibly look like?
Jackie Stallone? I'm being unkind to myself.
Jackie? Yeah.
I think you could play Karen Brady in the Karen Brady story. You know, the managing
not too
director?
bad. Yeah, I know exactly who you mean. Birmingham.
Managing director of Birmingham City.
Yeah.
I think you could...
What about Gareth?
I'd be Billy Connolly. Like
You
Billy
don't look
Connolly,
anything like him.
no, but it'd be brilliant, when he was going, I've been mostly playing the guitar, but when I do the funny bits in the middle, they really go for that. Oh, yes, Billy, you should do that more. Do you think I should do more jokes? Oh, that's very interesting.
I wish you'd done that when Adrian was here, because it sounded like Ardeep Singh Kohli from the One Show.
What about you, Frank?
I wouldn't mind a crack at the Elephant Man. I need a haircut. I really do need a haircut. I was thinking of putting a call out saying, can someone come to the studio and cut my hair while I'm doing the show?
I've got a brilliant hairdresser.
Yeah,
I'm going to
because
get him down here.
Yeah, but it's probably cost an absolute fortune. But it's all right for radio hair. But I need to get... Then I thought a stranger will turn up with a pair of scissors and we'll let them in. Is that a good idea? Anyway, I'd probably play Michael Sheen, I think, in a biopic. I could get one of the 2 hooks holding my nostrils up. So I look like him. For those of you who like your food, songs on... Oh, by the way, Darren Brown's our guest next week.
Oh, great.
So no need to send him a reminder. For those of you who like your food, sans oignon, and who like a bit of a laugh, this is one of my favourite artists ever. I love this guy. This is Serge Gainsbourg with Pauvre Lola. We'll all be back next week. Au revoir.
Barbecue season is here. With KFC's new Ultimate Barbecue Burger. Original recipe chicken. Crispy onions. And smoky barbecue sauce. Grab KFC's Ultimate Barbecue Burger before it goes. Available while stocks last until the 9th of June at participating restaurants and delivery partners. Delivery fees apply. Full T's and C's at kfc.co.uk.